Good morning, everyone. It's Jana Martins here, and our 16th episode of Reboot Your Tech Mind, a place for creating a positive habits. In this episode, Johnathan dives into the theme of getting out of your comfort zone, and we're going to use the job application process as an example. So he will provide some actionable advice for you on how to push the limits, build confidence, and seize opportunity in the job market. And hopefully, Johnathan motivates you to take bold steps towards your career goals. So just a reminder, we're getting together every Tuesday morning, 7:45 a.m. for a quick practical tips to kickstart your day in tech world. And in each episode, we're focusing on a different exercise from a range of topics like goal setting, stress management, productivity hacks, positive affirmation, breathing, mindfulness, so on. So whether you aim to reduce your stress level or stay motivated, enhance productivity, we got you covered here. So without any further delays, because it's a really quick stream, I'll passing it on to Johnathan to introduce himself and get started.
Great. Thanks very much for having me again, Jana. Hi, everybody. My name is Johnathan Maltby. I am a career coach and mentor, and I am absolutely passionate about helping people reach their full potential by helping them create or design and live their career that gives them a sense of purpose, satisfaction, and happiness when they're excited to go to work on a Monday. And today, I'm going to be sharing with you my top strategies to help you get out of your comfort zone and apply for those jobs or land that dream role. So I'm going to get into that now. Cool. There we go. That's me getting out of your comfort zone and overcoming job search doubts. So let's face it. Okay. At the end of the day, job searching for many people is not necessarily an enjoyable experience. It sucks sometimes. It's a painful thing. Am I right? I mean, yeah, sure. You can have some pretty amazing highs like, yeah, you've been coming in for the interview, but you can also have some pretty devastating lows when they say, sorry, your application has not been successful at this time. And we've all been there before. So you may have had a previous bad job experience, when you've been searching for a job, and that may have left you feeling, apprehensive when it comes to applications. Because, here's the thing, our brains are wired to avoid things that are negative, that can potentially hurt us emotionally sometimes. And that means that we take less risks, which means we're not putting ourselves out there, okay? And one of the biggest things that holds people back in their career, I've noticed, is not always a lack of skill or education or experience. It's this thing here. It is fear. And people fear something will happen to them, something bad will happen to them if they venture too far outside of their comfort zone. And let's face it, most of us, when it comes to our job search, we fear this one thing: rejection. And that's why we create this comfort zone or this mental safety zone as well. Let me give you an example. If you're sitting behind your computer, right, and you're applying for advertised jobs, you're in the safe zone. You're doing it safely because you're not really putting yourself out there that much. It's pretty much just words on a screen that you're sending over to someone else. And it's also one of the most least effective ways to find a job, because when you apply for a job online, there's usually a massive flood of CVs or that a hiring manager or a recruiter has to read. And I remember being a recruitment consultant years ago and going, oh my gosh, look at all these CVs I got to get through. And when you're applying for a job online and going through the usual channels, you become a very, very small fish in a very, very large ocean. But as I always
especially
say,
in the current market.
oh, absolutely. And it is such a highly competitive market out there right now. So you've got to do something different. In other words, and as I say, on the other side of fear lies greatness. So how do you start getting into that zone of greatness? Well, to venture out of your comfort zone, you've got to create some kind of safety net. And we've got to do this by reframing our fear to curiosity. So how do we do this? Let me illustrate with an example. I want you to imagine, I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey here. So use your imagination as we go down this journey, and then I'm going to give you a practical example of how you can apply it to your job search. I want you to imagine that you're walking along the shores of a lake, and you come across a boat sitting on the shore, and it's just outside the water, okay? And this boat is old, it's weathered, and you look inside the boat and you notice a pair of oars. So you get curious. And you wonder what would happen if you push that boat out into the shallow waters just to see what would happen. Would it float? Would it sink? Well, there's only one way to find out. So what you do is you drag the boat into the shallow water. It's only ankle deep. And you notice that the boat seems to float. No water is coming in. It's great, isn't it? Cool. So your curiosity grows a little bit more and you go, I wonder what would happen if I push this boat out just a little bit further, maybe to where it's up to my knees. And once again, you give that boat a little nudge and you notice, oh my gosh, it's still floating. No water's coming in. Fantastic. And then you think, I wonder what would happen. I'm curious. I wonder what would happen if I actually got into the boat now. Would it float or would it sink? And here's the thing. You're not really worried about it sinking because the water's only up to your knees and you can easily just climb out and walk back. So no dramas. So you climb in this boat. You're sitting in it for a while. It's not taking any water. So you go, I wonder what else I can do. What's another little experiment I can do? So you take the oars and you start to paddle out. You start to paddle out a little bit more just to see how far you can push that boat out before it sinks. You get to the middle of the lake and you go, hey, it hasn't sunk yet. Well, I might as well just carry on going to the other side. And you look and you keep going and you keep going. And every time you've pushed that boat out more, your confidence has grown. You've taken more calculated risks and you know that the safety net is your ability to swim back to the shore. Okay. And for every meter that you row out, you realize that it's much stronger than you anticipated. Eventually you look back behind your shoulder and you go look back at the shore and you go, wow, look how far I've come from little increments. See, that shoreline is your comfort zone. And for each little row that you do, you're safely expanding that comfort zone. And before long, you realize you're in the middle of a lake. Nothing bad has happened. Your fear of sinking has diminished because you've stayed afloat a lot longer than you thought. And suddenly you're closer to the other side and you go, well, you know what? I may as just well keep going. All right. So just like the strength of that boat, you become stronger and more resilient the further you push things out until finally you're at the other side. In other words, your curiosity has paid off and you have overcome that fear. So now let's take that concept and put it into getting out of your comfort zone. As mentioned, okay, into a practical example, getting out of your comfort zone, we want to reframe that fear to curiosity. And I want to introduce you now to a technique of mine that has helped so many of my clients get out of their comfort zone, really accelerate their careers. And it's just basically an extension of the pushing that boat out metaphor, all right? So it's called the I wonder if I can experiment. So let's say that you've got a dream role in mind, okay? And one day you suddenly see it come up on the job boards or somebody tells you about it. And you look at that role and you go, ooh, that's a little outside my comfort zone. You'd love to apply for it. You may be starting that application, but then fear creeps in. It could be a fear of rejection. It could be a fear of damaging your self-confidence. It could even be fear of humiliation. It's like, well, what happens if I actually get the role and I can't do it? And what happens? We don't take it any step further. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little experiment. That I wonder if I can experiment. So let's see. I wonder if I can update my CV or LinkedIn to align with this role. That's all you're doing. And so you do that in a couple of days. And you've answered your I wonder if I can question because you actually did it. Okay, now we're going to do the next little experiment. And you go, I wonder if I can send out a few LinkedIn connections and LinkedIn invites to a few people who maybe work in that organization. Maybe it's the hiring manager or someone in that team or above. I wonder if I can do that. So basically you sit in front of your computer and you just click some buttons because that's all LinkedIn really is, clicking some invites. Okay. Now, here's the thing. We are not concerned whether they accept that invite or not. Don't worry about that just yet. We just want to focus on inviting them to connect. That's all we want to do. That's all our experiment. And so that little experiment worked and you go, oh, okay, excellent. Okay. All I did was just click some buttons. You sent out some invites. Simple. Now, let's say that one or two of them accept your connection. Now you're going to go into the next experiment and you go, I wonder if I can come up with a little message that I can message them, see if they'd be interested in meeting me for a coffee. Okay. You're not worried about the consequence. You're just typing a message. Whatever they do with that message is not your concern. Okay. You're just moving out of your comfort zone. All right. So you send out some messages. Again, you have proved that that little experiment worked because you said, I wonder if I can send out a message. Hey, I've managed to do it. Excellent. So let's say one of them says, yes, I'm happy to have a coffee. And then you go through those motions again and again, again. But what happens if something doesn't work along the way? What happens if you don't get any responses? Nothing happens. Why? You just look at it and going, well, it's okay because it was only an experiment. And this is how we get out of our comfort zones. One little experiment at a time. Whether the experiment works or not is of no consequence, okay? Just focus instead on the act of doing. You see, doing small little experiments is a great way to get yourself out of your comfort zone and put you in line for growth and opportunity. So, a little bit of an exercise that you could do in your own time is choose an aspect of a job hunt, okay, that causes maybe you to have some anxiety or fear, something that would be outside of your comfort zone. So what is one tiny experiment that you could do around that? How could you reframe that fear to curiosity? So what you want to do is you want to write down the experiment. I'm going to call it that. I wonder if I can meet someone from X company to chat about the role. I wonder if I can do that. And then what you want to do is you want to start writing down maybe 3 actions that you could do to set this experiment up. Remember, focus on the action, not the outcome. The outcome will take care of itself. Focus on the doing part because action gets you out of that comfort zone. So, to wrap up, growing your career, okay, and landing that next amazing role can take quite a while if you just stay within the safety of your comfort zone. You want to find something that really pushes you each week. The point I'm making here is that you want to get comfortable being uncomfortable until your comfort zone safely expands to new levels where you can really tap into that all that amazing gold that's sitting inside of you right now. And I'm here to tell you that your boat is a lot stronger than you can imagine. So my advice to you today is climb in it, start pushing that boat out, tiny increments at a time, and I 100% guarantee that you are far more capable of achieving your goals than you think. There we go.
Thank you. Guys, whoever listening to us, maybe or watching replay, maybe share us in the comments what sort of fears, you or like uncomfortable things you have when you're looking for a job. Is it uncomfortable to you to reaching out to hiring managers or inviting people for coffee, or you just uncomfortable about rejection in general? I think really popular exercise that a lot of people offer when you want to overcome rejection is actually go and collect as many rejections as you can.
You got it.
So then you just refocusing on a different thing. But like I love that example of not overthinking about, oh my God, I haven't get the job yet. Yeah, so just doing those things and see where they will get you. I think another great example is posting something on LinkedIn. How many of us like thinking, oh my God, I shouldn't post it, what people will think? Is it like that post is boring, or maybe people not interested, or people think I'm arrogant, or like just get rid of these thoughts, just try. You can always delete it later. But if you like feel that bad about it, but like trying and putting it out there and see what sort of audience you can also attract, because that's the way to grow your network. So there's so many of these different things that we can do without focusing on like, what if?
That's right. Yeah, go and find areas of your career or life in general that you can experiment. Be curious, going, what if? I wonder if I could. Oh, let's go out and let's see what happens. Let's see if I can push that button. What would it do? Be curious. It's the fear doesn't actually exist. Fear is something we create in our head.
Yeah, all the social fears, they basically, just in our heads. Unless you see the tiger, that's not a fear. So just it's a made up social fear that we can all try to overcome in the different ways. And guys, obviously, if you're enjoying this discussion, please make sure to like this video and share it with one person that really need to hear this. Maybe you have a friend who's looking for a job and just get stuck in this negative mindset. Just share it with that person. And of course, join us every Tuesday to get a dose of positive vibes and helpful tips. And of course, check the replays of the previous episodes. Thank you, Johnathan, for joining me this morning.
Thanks, Jana.
Thank you. And don't forget to connect with Johnathan, of course.
Yeah, please do. Jump on LinkedIn, connect with me as well. Thanks.
Thank you.